all who has chosen our organization, British Council, for taking IELTS tests, and for people who are showing their patience and understanding and being loyal in this non-standard period of time when we are forced to reschedule and cancel and suspend all exam dates. Additionally, it is essential to point out that you may ask any questions during this webinar, and at the end of this presentation, I will try to answer all of them. So you can write them in the chat box. I hope Muhammad Hom will help me in announcing them, right? Of course, all these bans are introduced for your safety and health. What I want to say, I mean our candidates, our employees and partners. Currently, we closely monitor the whole dynamics and incidents and the spread of inspection, and with intention follow all recommendations and instructions of the State Agency for Sanitary and Epidemiology Well-being. However, it is essential to point out and say that we focus not only on these external factors, but also our priority is the health of our candidates, our partners and employees. And that is why we have introduced clear corporate guidelines about which I'm going to tell you further. In turn, the whole and entire British Council team currently is looking forward to resume exam activities. However, I have to remind that currently all exams are suspended until 31st of August. The next that I would like to tell you in detail are the measures which are going to be taken when we resume our tests. And then I would like to tell you about our pretty new product, which is called IELTS Computer Delivered Test. That's all. So particularly talking about this new product, I would like to tell you about its structure, about its distinctiveness, about its general features, and etc. As you see, the topic of pandemic hasn't passed us either. That is why British Council has developed and applied instructions which are aimed to protect your health and safety. I mean, candidates, personnel, our partners, and etc. Particularly going more details. The first of all, we will implement wet cleaning of all surfaces before the exam and after it. The second, we will apply increased ventilation during and after each exam session. The third one, we will provide a number of candidates. We will provide and apply all possible methods to prevent any kind of overcrowding of candidates and their parents. The fourth one, regardless of number of candidates in the room, we will adhere to the physical distance of rule of at least 2 meters. And the fifth one, we will invite candidates to the examination room one by one strictly. Talking about the test date site itself, upon arrival to the test site, first of all candidates' temperatures will be measured and made a note in the log. After determination of the compliance with the temperature norms, candidates will be asked to sign a special COVID-19 declaration. This declaration implies that candidates during that test period is not self-isolating. This is the first one. The second, hasn't come into any kind of contact with the infected people within the last 14 days. And the last one is the fact that the candidate has no any kind of signs of the cold. After all above mentioned 3 points have been accepted, the candidates will be admitted to the exam room. In case if candidate has any kind of above signs, candidate supposed to inform organizers of the test about that. If that happens and the candidate is not admitted to the test room due to above mentioned circumstances, there is no some kind of big worry, because British Council will give a candidate a chance or a right whether to choose to postpone the test date or to refund the test fee. Also, during the whole entire test period, it is essential that candidates will be prohibited to remove their masks, and it is highly recommended to wear gloves. Another essential note is the rule related with the masks. Please note, the mask is supposed to cover your nose and your mouth. The next slide will be related with continuation of our measures. So as I have already mentioned earlier, we will keep distance, physical distance of 2 meters. And this distance will be kept between each candidate on all directions. All applicants will need to wash their hands or use our provided disinfectants upon arrival. In addition, we will offer disinfectants at every stage of the test, from starting the checking and inside the examination room and visiting the washrooms and exiting before the exam rooms. Also, we strongly recommend all candidates bring their own water in transparent bottle, pencils, erasers, and sharpeners. The next point is related with our new product, which is called CD IELTS. So, as I have already said, it is a pretty new product. It is a little over the 1 year old. It has a practically identical structure and format to our everybody known and aware of paper-based IELTS tests. Talking about its distinctive features, it is essential to point out about greater availability of test dates. What I want to say is that with the computer-delivered IELTS, we can provide greater number of test dates and sessions compared to the paper-based one, which can be conducted over an average only 4 times a month. And as a result, this allows our candidates to choose more convenient time to take the main test. The second distinctive feature is specificity of the computer test itself. What I want to say is that computer-delivered IELTS allows you to see all questions on the monitor screen, whereas paper-based tests, you are provided separately with a booklet with the questions and a separate sheet where you need to fill the answers. So it obviously confirms the advantage of the computer test one more time. The next distinctive feature is provision of the test results. Talking about the paper-based version of the test, usually our results were presented in 13th day after the taking's main test, whereas in case of computer-based version, candidates will be able to out already on the 5th or 7th day. Talking about the mutual features, as I have already said above, the fundamental difference between these tests is the fact that CD IELTS is taken on computer, and all other parts are saved in the same manner, in the same style as in the paper version of the test. Talking more details, it is essential to point out the content. What I want to say is the content of the test, difficulty levels, length, and structure of the questions do not differ from the paper-based test one. The second is the scoring methods. What I want to say is that well-known and globally accepted 9 scoring scale for each section has been saved, and which is used in paper-based version of the test, and assessment of the answers is carried out by the same specialists and examiners who has passed and taken the same standardization and has been accepted for the position with the very high standards. The next feature is the test report forms. In other words, in IELTS terminology, is a result of the report, which is the official name of the IELTS certificate, and which is usually provided in the certain days after the taking the main test. So what I want to say is that in computer version of the test, the same certificates are provided, presented, and there is no any kind of specifications or specifying in the test format whether the candidate took the test in paper-based version or computer-delivered version. The next very essential point is the speaking test. As you know, probably already heard, it is essential to point out that there is a notion saying that on computer-delivered IELTS, candidates need to take the speaking test to machine or some kind of artificial intelligence application. In reality, the speaking test format is absolutely identical to the paper version, which is conducted with the same certified IELTS examiners. The next feature is safety and integrity point. What I want to say is that candidates and stakeholders, I mean employers and higher education institutions, representatives, are likely protected by the robust security measures that underpins the paper version of the IELTS test. The next point is related with receiving organizations, I mean with the right of verifying the results. As you know, British Council provides verification service of test results for interested parties. Accordingly, it is important to say that certificates after taking CD IELTS can be checked using IELTS results verification service. If we talk about IELTS results verification service, as I have already previously mentioned, I'm talking about employers and representatives of higher education institutions. They can register to this service and then receive mailings and notifications from the candidates who in turn during their registrations can indicate 5 organizations or institutions where electronic copies of these certificates will be sent to that organizations. The next thing is related to frequently asked question. What I want to say is that now I would like to tell you more about our forced cancellations and postponements of the test dates, about the cases and conditions where, when, and where our candidates will be able to get their refundings if they need. In other words, I will provide you with answers, the most frequently asked ones. So the first question is related with how do candidates may be able to know whether his or her test has been suspended. So candidates can find out about the status of their tests by clicking on the link which is provided on screen, which is regularly updated. Also, the latest information about the canceled test dates also can be found on our social media platforms or networks. What I mean, Instagram, Facebook, and Telegram. The next very active question is about email notifications. What I want to say is that it is very important to say that after decision is made to suspend or resume any kind of test or test date, each candidate receives a notification email That is why it is very important and essential to check your emails regularly. The next question is related with transfers and ability to choose a proper date which is applicable or suitable for the candidate. So candidates whose test date has been suspended or previously postponed have a right to select any other suitable session date free of charge. The only point is we need to keep in mind that there must be free seats in that particular period. The next question is decided with the cancellations of registrations and ability to get their monies back or to be refunded. So all candidates whose test sessions were suspended or previously postponed have a right to refuse and enjoy back their monies in the full form. To do that, candidates need to provide the following information to the following electronic info at britishcouncil.org. Initial test date, identification number used upon the registration, contact phone number of the candidate. The next point is information related to their plastic card. Doesn't matter whether it is a whose card or Humo card. So information about the bank code, identification number of the bank transfer transit bank number, which is usually start from 2310 and consists of 20 digits, the plastic card number of the card holder, the copy of the plastic card, and copy of the passport of the holder of the plastic card, and copy of the payment receipt, definitely. Information regarding plastic cards can be obtained from the bank which is issued the plastic card itself. Please note that the refunds and funds are returned on average on 3 weeks, within the 3 weeks from the date of providing all information. And we will be able to grade really happy if you'll be able to provide all information in one at a time within the one email. The next very actual question is related with test report forms. What I want to say is that candidates who took the test but didn't manage to receive their certificates due to quarantine and the fact that our office is closed, they're supposed to contact us with the email info@britishcouncil.org, which is I have already mentioned above, and I'm repeating it. The next question is related with ability to contact us. Despite the fact that our office is closed, customer service department conducts their work from their home, and we hardly work to answer each phone call and email, but we have to keep in mind that it is an unusual period of time and there can be several delays, and we please ask you to accept our apologizes in advance. And we really hope that you understand the whole situation. The next question is related with different very informative and grateful and useful online application preparation resources that I'm going to tell you. So the first one is computer IELTS preparation material. This material is developed by British Council specialists and includes series of video sessions that will help candidates understand how the listening, reading, and writing sections are displayed on the computer and how various functions available. So you can see also practical tests and similar simulator of the computer version of the IELTS test. The next material or product is called Road to IELTS. Additional to the previous material, it includes online resources, electronic books for each section, examples and videos with advices from the candidates, seminars from the teachers, indicating the test, indicating what is allowed and what is not recommended within the test, including practice tests and sections My Progress, which enable you to access your performance and compare your results with the other students. Another point is section My Profile, which will remind you or candidates about upcoming tests. Also, you will be able to have an access to the correct answers to the practice exercises and tips and advices to improve your performance and sample items from the test to build confidence. The next very useful application and program is free online courses. Understanding IELTS is a course that helps you to share experience and advice with others. This application will also guide you through each step of the IELTS test with advice from our team and IELTS experts. After completion of this course, our candidates will use all components of the test and will receive physical advices and will be able to understand how the test is assessed and will be able to communicate with other preparing people. The next very useful application is a mobile application, which is called Free IELTS mobile application. It is very easy to use and it will give you instant access to the free practice tests, grammar tips, exercises, quizzes, and other different very interesting techniques. You will also find simple or sample questions for the listening, reading, and writing and speaking sections, which will enable you to improve your vocabulary and also will also track your progress and will be able to understand your IELTS assessment criteria and build confidence while you'll be preparing. The next very interesting application is IELTS videos. These are the special video sessions explaining the aspects of vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation points that in the test. The last but not the least product which is offered by British Council is IELTS Progress Check program. It is an official online practice test conducted by trained and qualified IELTS examiners and assessors. After the test, our candidates will be able to receive an approximate overall grade and separate for each section, and they will be able to get any feedback for what they have been written in the test. Dear candidates and our visitors and listeners of this webinar, I really hope my presentation was interesting for you, and if you have any kind of questions, I'm happy to answer them. Muhammad Khan, can you tell me whether I have any questions from our visitors and listeners, please? Hello, Muhammad Khan.
Hi there. There are some questions that we see.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now let's see the questions. Let's see some questions here. So the first question is, so Mr. Sadiq, thank you for insight into what measures are being taken. And okay, so I was wondering if the test session, in particular off-site session, will be continued to be carried out in early September. The measures are slowly being eased. So the question is whether we will have IELTS exam in September.
Okay. Honestly saying, I'm not sure whether I am able to tell you exact number when I will be able to resume our operations, because no matter we have lockdown easing processes, it is essential to point out that our priority is the security and health of our that is why, as long as we are not be sure that our candidates can easily and safely take our exams, will not be able to announce our resumption. Although we keep all recommendations and accept all recommendations from the government authorities. Mohan, I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yes, so there are currently no plans in September, as officially confirmed, but as soon as we will have confirmation, it will be available in your website, I believe.
Yes,
And
yes, sure. We will contact all our currently registered candidates, and we will announce this information in all our social media platforms and on our webpage. And definitely, we will distribute this information through our registration partners and venue providers. Another essential thing that I have missed to say is to let you know that Innovative Center from Samarkand, our registration partner, is currently the only provider of computer-delivered IELTS tests in Uzbekistan. I mean, except Tashkent city. So if any candidate wishes to take computer-delivered IELTS tests, they can easily appeal to representatives of Innovative Center in Samarkand.
and there is
And another essential, and sorry for interrupting you, Muhammad
no,
Khan.
okay, go ahead.
Another essential is that most probably we will resume our operations from computer delivered tests, because it is essential to recognize and admit that comparing to paper-based one, computer-delivered one will enable us to keep safe our candidates much easier, you know, because gathering people in one venue with 100 or 150 or 200 people, it is still a little unsecure to my mind. What do you think about that?
In fact, next question is connected with this. The story is asking us question, what will be the capacity of the exam? Because as we know, still when the quarantine measures in place, for example, from yesterday, we are allowed to work in Samarkand, and from 15th, all centers may work, but the public events are still prohibited. And what will be the
Yes.
capacity of one IELTS exam in British Council? That's the question. Okay, the question is said, I just interpreted in a more clear way.
Yes, you know, it is still open question, and I'm not sure whether someone will be able to exactly answer that one. However, it is essential to point out, no matter how many people will be in the venue, doesn't matter whether it is going to be paper-based version of the test or computer, we will keep physical distancing at least 2 meters. This is a requirement of our authorities, government authorities, and we will have to keep in mind that point. So what I want to say, if we are going to conduct computer tests, computer IELTS tests, and if we have 15 computers in the venue or 30 computers in the venue, we will make sure that there will be at least 2 meters distancing between each candidate. Muhammad Khan?
Okay, the next question, Nigina. So, as we know, the British Council is a charity. It's registered as charity. But what British Council does to support less affluent students and less affluent families?
Which students? Can you repeat, please?
It means poor students, just with not very good financial background.
Yeah.
So as we know, so let me request.
Yeah, you know, very interesting question. Yes. You know, as you have already mentioned, British Council is a charity organization and its activities are distributed to different sectors and industries. I mean, it is related to the culture, arts, education, English language, and etc. And talking specifically and particularly about English language, first of all, I have to remind you that we have a lot of different online and online applications and programs which are free of charge for the candidates who wish to prepare for IELTS. And additionally, we try and we announce different contents for the potential applicants to the IELTS test, which enable them to win payment of their tuitions. If you remember, we have conducted this kind of contests last year. And additionally, the last but not least, is that we provide different teaching, I mean, like listening sessions and teachers sessions for our partners who logically distribute these free of charge teacher trainings to their candidates.
I believe the interpretations of questions are quite different. There's a thing is, will poor, let's say, students from, I don't want to say poor, but low income families get specific discount during IELTS? Because when we talk about business, they mean this, because IELTS price isn't cheap. As we know, it's I mean the question in that direction. Am I correct?
I do understand what you want. Yes, I do understand what you pointing out whether we'll be able to provide some kind of discounts or price changes. Honestly, I'm not responsible to answer that question. This is controlled and this is managed by the regional and global team of British Council. And I am afraid that if I say something on that point, I will mislead you and all our listeners and visitors.
Okay, so the next question, what about speaking examiners? Because the question is about speaking exams and speaking examiners. There are some rumors that it is going to be done in the video conferencing format, because in one or two presentations about today, this question was raised. So in the future, most of the exams will be used during video conferencing. So will IELTS speaking be in video conferencing? Thank you so much for the question.
We do plan doing. Yes, we do plan, and I confirm that we are planning to introduce new type of speaking sessions. The format and the structure of the speaking session will be absolutely identical with the regular one, face-to-face one. The only difference is the fact that candidates are supposed to be talking, communicating with the examiner through special applications. This is the only difference. And we will be able to implement this only after we will resume our operations.
Okay, and the last question, I believe, because at 2 we have another session. So, Sherzod Ibrahimov, there is a question. Do you think IELTS will go home? Because I don't know whether you participated in previous sessions. In about 2 presentations ago, we discussed about future of assessment tests with some Cambridge representatives and so forth. And we expect that some exams will eventually go home. Now we have IELTS indicated, but that's not widely accepted. The question is, do you think that Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, do you think
Yes.
IELTS,
So
will there be
your
any
question
version of
is
the
where it is possible. You know what? This is my subjective opinion, but it is essential to understand that competitive advantage and special feature of IELTS tests is that it is administered manually, that it is administered and conducted in offline, in regular way. Currently, we don't know where we are going and what is going to be situation in the closest 2-5 years. But if everything will calm down and we will be able to resume our operation as we did in a regular way, most probably British Council will try to keep offline methods of conducting tests.
Okay, thank you. I
This is
believe
my
we may end if there is no further questions. If there are any other questions, you can ask or you can write to me. I will deliver it to Ahmed Said or other representatives of British Council, and they will certainly be eager to help you.